Okay. All right. Welcome to this week's conversation about what's happening in the country, what I think is interesting, and that's what I try to do on this particular YouTube channel. Just look at the country from my experience and the exposure I've had in politics and try and analyze what is happening. But this particular week, I want to do something different. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to read this book. I saw it's already in the bookshops. Is going for approximately 3,000 shillings if you're getting a soft copy. I mean a soft cover, and I think 3,850 if you're getting a hard cover. I've had mine. The CS ADEN was kind enough to write for me a personalized book where he said some nice things. He thinks I'm a serious politician. After having served with him, and something very interesting is written, most people don't understand. He's written, "Thank you for your trust." Most people don't understand where that particular statement comes from. I know a lot of us remember how DUALE left his position as majority leader in the last parliament, in the 12th parliament. What most people might not remember is how that particular process was initiated. We had gone to State House, where the president had removed many leaders of parliament from Jubilee and left DUALE. And to some extent, we assumed that that particular operation was over. And then immediately after we left State House, an initiative began in parliament to now remove DUALE. And I was one of the people who went on record everywhere I could that I thought we were making a mistake. Initially, I had been of the opinion that DUALE needed to leave. But after looking at what it is that we were having as options, so who was going to take over from him, I felt very strongly that what we most probably needed to do was get DUALE to agree to work with the president and with our side, and we would be better. In retrospect, sometimes I think if we hadn't made that move, having worked with DUALE and seen the kind of person he was, he could have been an interesting interlocutor between the President Uhuru's side and William Ruto's side. And maybe the implosion that happened in Jubilee might not have happened. But anyway, that's water under the bridge. There's nothing we can do about it. But the reason I'm very excited about this book, I know there was a feeling that to some people, this particular book is an attack on the enemies of William Ruto. Interestingly, I do not think it is. I have read it, and it doesn't. It's a very candid conversation about this man from some village in Garissa, who is climbed from that village and is now the cabinet secretary for defense, which is a very interesting position in this time and age with the dynamics of the region. What I like about it is the inside detail it gives about the politics of this country over the last 20, 25 years. I know a lot of people have used the word betrayal. The backstabbing. Yes, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of those examples in this book. But, and I know, by the way, just for the record, I do not have any particular assignment from DUALE to talk about this book. This is me doing it from my own prerogative. Because I think, first, he's done a good book. Second, I have always tried to urge as many people as possible to write books, especially if you've been in leadership in politics in this country. That is how our country grows. If you look at a country like America, you find the number of books. Nearly everybody who's run for president has done a book. Everybody who's held a senior position in government has done a book. Because books help you to cross-analyze the events that have happened in the country. Because a book is written as a personal opinion. You cannot judge what DUALE has written here in this book because this is his opinion. This is his view of what he saw. You might disagree with it. I mean, there are parts of this book I would disagree with. But you can't disagree with an opinion. If he thinks so-and-so is not a good person, that is his opinion. If you don't agree with him, write a book and explain how you think that particular person is a good person. I talk about this book, why I say this is a good book. It analyzes what has been happening in this country from just before the 2012 election, primarily. It's a very candid observation of the Jubilee administration for 10 years. where DUALE had a straight and center seat as the pioneer majority leader of the kind of government system we have that we took over after we promulgated the Constitution in 2010. The things that have stood out for me in this book. First, as I said, yes, there's a lot of conversations about betrayal and backstabbing. Of course, when DUALE is talking about that, he's thinking primarily about the betrayal the Ruto team feels from the Uhuru side. And when you read this book, you can see and you can understand why they felt very betrayed. I liked one particular thing that he said. When they got into power in 2012, they had an agenda as Jubilee to run government for 20 years. So to them, when Uhuru looked like he was diverting after having done 10 years, to them that was a betrayal. The issue wasn't so much about Ruto, the issue was that we had a deal, that Jubilee was going to be the administration in power for the next 20 years. And it looked like Uhuru was diverting from that particular point. So yes, you see the betrayals, you see the backstabbing, but you also see something very interesting, and that's what DUALE has been able to portray of himself in this particular book, commitment and loyalty. DUALE is a guy from a minority community, and then from a minority religion. But the kind of weight that he seems to carry is the kind of weight you don't expect somebody from where he is to have. The kind of conversations he was part of, the kind of decisions he was part of making are very interesting. And this would be the kind of book, if you come from nowhere politically, you want to read a book like this because it actually gives you hope. And that is the one thing that DUALE has achieved. I've always said that leadership is about giving hope. He has given hope that it is possible for you to come from nowhere. Not only marry the daughter of a powerful man in your clan, as happened to him, but also go to the top echelons of leadership in your country. What kind of man are we talking about? I worked with DUALE in the last parliament when he was our majority leader. The one thing that always sticks in my head is how prepared DUALE used to be when he came to the floor of the House. I always remember, he used to, I'm not very sure how legal it was. I don't know whether it's actually legal to carry typed papers, but DUALE had notes of nearly everything we were dealing with. And the one thing you didn't want to do is go against DUALE because he could cut you down. And he was very, very good. His tongue is like a sword. It cuts. And he's very candid. I mean, he would hit you. And even in the book, you see him asking Uhuru, you see him asking Ruto, like when they handed over power, when Uhuru handed over power to Musalia, you see him asking Ruto some very hard questions. You see in the book, according to him, the conversation they had with Raila when they were leaving ODM, very candid. When he told Ruto, I cannot support you in the no campaign. And he broke down the reasons why he couldn't be with him in the no campaign. Very, very candid. And that's some of the things you can pick up from this book. There is a big stories, then there's a small details. That's of what success is made of loyalty, of principle, of focus. These guys never lost focus of what it is that took them to office. Shouldness, very, very many moments of shouldness. How they jumped, how they diverted attention when they were setting up UDA, when they were setting up URP. You get some very, very interesting lessons from this book. So I would strongly recommend it. This is the first time I'm actually recommending a book. And I actually think I'm going to be doing this. I love reading. So every now and again, I'm going to be picking a book that I think has a powerful message, and I'm going to share it this week. For the record, ADEN DUALE. And forward by the President of the Republic of Kenya, fifth President, William Samoei Ruto. So please go and pick a book. I only have two other things I want to talk about today. Monday, this week, Jubilee holds a National Delegates Conference. I hear the venue is going to be in Gong Racecourse. I do not plan to attend, but I will be following very, very strongly. And I will say this for this reason. I really, really pray we never got to this point again. For me, it's a deja vu moment. When I see this, somebody asked me when I was on Spice FM, I remember Kieleweke Tangatanga fights and how they led to a much, much weaker Jubilee. The Kanini Kioni fight that is going on right now, same thing. I wish we didn't get to the point. I wish we went to this NDC as one united party, which was what my push was. When I said we're not ready for an NDC, we should have started from the grassroots and gone up to an NDC. So by the time we get to an NDC, we are one party. This particular push for the NDC from one group within our party and the hostility to this NDC from another group means that whatever happens on Monday is going to leave us weaker. We're going to have part of that party out. Some people are going to get pushed out. We'll be left in. And when you're not the ruling party, you can't be pushing people out of the party. You're pushing people out of which party? What is it that we have at this moment in time? We should be trying to bring in as many people as possible into our party so that we can get that think tank, we can get a group think, bring together minds, and hopefully set our party in the right place. Now, we have a party that is weak. We lost power. We've lost our stronghold of Mount Kenya. And now, we are getting deeper and deeper into a hole of fighting. Why are we doing that? I don't know. I have made this appeal so many times to His Excellency the President, for the President of the Republic of Kenya and the party leader of Jubilee. I wish it was possible, and maybe it's too late. I wish it was possible for you to first postpone this NDC, to get the two sides of the Jubilee party around the table, because I do not think it is too late, to get them to agree on the things they can agree on, to disagree on the things they can disagree on, and as a party leader, to give direction that takes the entire party together forward. The way we're going, what do I expect? By next week, one of the decisions that will be made in that NDC is to expel or suspend some of the people who this side has been fighting with. Anyway, what do I know? All I know is that as we get into next week, Jubilee, the remaining part of what we have, is most probably going to end up being left as a briefcase party that is going to most probably be rolled out every election, get a couple of people, and become the personal property of some powerful people, which was never what we envisioned when we joined Jubilee. But we'll wait, we'll see how this NDC turns out, and we will make a decision after this NDC is done. As I finish, I go back to the social issue that we have been dealing with as a region, the issue of the fight against alcoholism and drug abuse. I know there was a lot of work that was done a couple of weeks ago, and I want to continue urging, starting from the Deputy President and the team that he's working with. This particular fight, most probably, as I had said, we have done government, we have done the administration, we have done the politicians. If we could expand it, bring in community leaders. I had, in one of the church services I attended recently, we were talking with the religious leaders, and the idea of what would happen, we have so many churches. What if we gave every church a responsibility of picking one or two people around them and rehabilitating them so that they stay? I know, I have had experience, I have seen what happens to people who go to rehab. And unfortunately, people who go to rehab, relapse is close to 90%. Why? Because you are removed from your ordinary environment, taken to a place for 3 months, so you stop taking drugs or you stop taking alcohol, then you're released and you go back to your ordinary environment. What if we could help these people from the ordinary environment? The best way to do this is to partner with local organizations in those ordinary environments, whether it is churches or local community groups. Pick one, pick two people, help them, work with them. It will be longer, but it will be cheaper and it will be more sustainable. That's one of the things I wish we could follow up on. And I'm going to be talking about this a bit more as we move into some additional interviews we'll be doing on something we're going to call the lion mentality, talking about mental health, talking about how to grow your business. These are some of the conversations we're going to continue having in coming weeks. But on the issue of the fight against alcoholism, the fight against illegal drugs and illicit alcohol, it's going on well. Let's expand it, bring in more stakeholders in the lives of the people at the local community level, and it will succeed. As Rwanda, we continue to be grateful, very, very grateful for all the people who come and hang out with us. Take our pilau, take our nyama, take our tea and mandazi. We are very grateful. We get a chance to serve the people of the great constituency of Nyeri, and we continue to do that. And we continue to thank God for it. So we wish you a really nice week. God bless you. God bless our country. Thank you very much.